So yeah, hello everybody. Thanks for joining us. I am recording it. It will be uploaded to YouTube afterwards. You've got myself and Vann here. Hopefully we'll be able to answer all of your questions, between us. If anybody doesn't want to speak on camera, you're more than welcome to obviously drop any questions that you do have in on the chat. I'll probably keep an eye on the chat more than Vann will, and then we can take any questions that you guys have got. It's an open session today, so we're not talking about anything specific. It is just a free-for-all. So if you do want to ask a question, I believe you can do things like raising your hand on Zoom and things like that, just to make sure that we've not got any overlap of chatter. So I guess really if everybody could stay muted, and then if you do want to speak, excuse me, you should be able to. I think there's like a little react button down at the bottom there where you can actually raise your hand. Although I am trying to figure it out myself.
I don't know where it is.
Oh, there it is. There you go. Just giving a thumbs up there. So yeah, on the react at the bottom, if you click on it, you should be able to put a thumbs up or raise your hand. Raise your hand is there as well. So a bit like that, you'll go over in the corner there, and then you can lower your hand and it goes back once you have actually asked your question. If anyone is struggling with it, then by all means drop it in the chat. But yeah, go for it. I don't know if you want to say anything, Vann, before we get going.
I'll just introduce myself. Hi everyone. I'm Vann, one of the founders of COHO, and originally one of the developers, though I've increasingly moved out of the development team onto product and what we're trying to do in future. I love these sessions because when we first built the company, I mean, even to now, it's all being kind of based on user feedback and what people are doing and what people are wanting and how needs are changing. And I mean, we started this in 2019. So as you can imagine, the changes of what people have wanted over the past few years has just been crazy. The world's changed so much since then. So yes, whatever it is that you want to ask about, whether it's things that's coming up, whether it's, things that we're doing right now or things that you're facing, please go ahead and ask anything. And when the room goes quiet, we'll end it there.
Yay, Sean, go for it.
I'm on the session. I mainly wanted to just listen in and just see what sort of problems people have. But my main thing, which I was trying to establish, is I'm buying properties in two companies, and obviously I have my COHO setup. But I just wanted to know how I could go about setting it so it's the companies that are purchased sort of are allocated to each of those two businesses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, cool. So just to check, they're different legal entities, but ultimately you've got the same team managing them. And are they kind of branded in the same way? I don't know if you do branding as such, but like from a tenant perspective,
no, it's more behind the scenes thing. So for my own benefit, I mean, it's quite a small setup, so I kind of manage and deal with everything myself. But some of the properties are bought with myself and one partner, and some are bought with myself and another partner. And I'm just trying to, and it's still pretty early on, and I just want to try and keep that separate as I go through it.
Yeah. And do you integrate with Zero? Is that how you kind of
I'm going to do that as well, yeah.
Because I think there's specific things with the Zero integration that allows you to kind of say that these properties go to this place and these properties go to that place. Otherwise, our tagging system can work really well for this, where you can tag certain properties by a company. Hey, and that will allow you to.
Hello, I'm really sorry.
No worries. That'll allow you to and things like the performance.
11 instead tomorrow. That's great. Thanks ever so much.
Can you mute if you're not talking? Whoever is talking.
I think you can mute.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cool. So the tagging system allows you
not muted
to select in the performance by the tag, and then you can view the performance by that specific tag. So you can look at it from a property perspective that way. You can also look in the finance panel and like filter things by that tag. So I would say from the top of my head, tagging will probably be the best way to kind of be able to break things out throughout the site. But as I said, the specific Xero integration, I'm pretty sure has things in to handle this.
So you can just direct it to that. So just when actually setting it up, so if I look at my COHO, I've obviously got it's under the one name of the property. There isn't a way that I could set it up as a sort of separate thing to control.
So your options are, if you want to do all under one COHO account, it needs to have one kind of overall name. Now that
Right.
doesn't mean that's not a legal entity as such. That's kind of just what tenants will see you as. So
Sure.
often, you know, people will have one brand, but there could be like 10 different companies behind it holding the properties, but they have one brand. There's so many ways of doing things. In this situation, it can be that you put each property as managed with a 0% fee, or you can put them as owned and in the notes who those properties are owned by from a legal perspective.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we've tried to build it to be quite flexible for the different ways people want to handle things, basically.
Sure.
So yeah, it kind of
Okay, great stuff. I'll try and go through that route then.
great.
I've just put a link to the actual property tagging section of the user guide as well in the chat, just in case you wanted to give that a read through and sort of find out how the tagging actually works.
Okay, that's great. Thanks, Claire. That's really useful. Cheers. Thanks, Ben.
No worries. And with the tagging, basically anywhere you can select a property or multiple properties. If you scroll to the very bottom, you'll be able to select by tag.
Okay, magic. That's great. Thanks very much.
Who's next? We can't have 18 people in here with no questions. I'm not buying that.
Hello there.
Hi.
Hi, Selvi. How are you doing?
Yeah, good.
Good.
I'm fine. I want specifically with regards to the finance section. And if you could help me with those, you know, like, especially like when you receive the rent, like with the deposit together, like the rent plus deposit, and they are deducting the letting fees. Then the net is the one we are receiving to the bank. So how do we allocate actually to the respective rent or deposit and letting fee? Is there any facility in your system where we can segregate those three?
So is this for taking somebody through, are you using the onboarding or are you just...
No, this is the rent received. We are receiving the rent plus the deposit.
Yeah.
Less the letting fee.
So are you adding these manually to the rent collection panel, the rent schedule panel for the individual tenant?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually we are receiving, like, suppose, okay, if you say the rent is £1,000 and the deposit is £1,000 and there's a letting fee of £300. They are deducting a letting fee of £300. So the total what we are receiving is £2,700.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do we, is there any facility where we can segregate, you know, like £1,000 to the rent collection panel and 1,000 to the deposit and £300 to the letting fee?
Yeah, so on the rent schedule at tenancy level, right down at the bottom, there's actually a button called Add New Money Due. And you can actually say what that money is, whether it be rent, deposit, or absolutely anything. And you can also say how much that needs to be. So once you've added the rent due record or deposit or whatever it is onto their rent schedule, then you can obviously open those out and reconcile that way. So they will appear differently, however you name them on the actual individual rent schedule. But it's all about that Add New Money Due button at the bottom.
Okay, add new. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine. Okay. And another question is regarding the, you know, that I think we spoke about this regarding the Excel format where we download and the date range doesn't appear in the Excel. Is it fixed or how?
Is this for the, is it for exporting maintenance or?
Yes. No, not maintenance. Not maintenance, rent.
Oh, okay then, rent. So I'm just trying to sort of rack my brains as to what options you get. So you're generating a rent schedule at the bottom of that panel. I do believe the date range is there. If
Yeah.
correct me if
Yeah.
I'm wrong, Vann.
It is in the actual rent collection panel, it is there, but when you try to export it, then it doesn't appear.
As in when you export it.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I've connected up my laptop.
So rent collection panel, export CSV at the
CSV.
bottom.
Yeah, if you
I see what
yeah.
you're saying. Yeah, it just opens up an Excel sheet rather
Yeah.
than. So you'd like to be able to export CSV and
Yeah.
choose a date range in
Yes,
there.
exactly same as in the rent collection panel. So I
Right.
don't know why it doesn't appear. Is there anything which can be fixed?
We'll look into it. I'll need to
Please.
check in. I think if you've raised it with the team, it's probably on a list to be done at some
Okay.
point soon.
Okay.
I think neither me nor Claire has a direct answer on whether it's been done yet. It could be in testing or it could still be on the list to do, but we'll check into that.
I've written it down, so I will go and check. Yeah, it'll, like Vann has said, it'll either be something, we're very good at recording things when people want something, especially me.
Okay.
I do put it on the development roadmap for them to pick up, but
And
when
another
they
one,
pick it up, yeah, is
and another question is, Claire, this is regarding the bank feed. I don't know why, this some transactions recently, it has got duplicated, like in the rent received, I'm getting the same transaction, £3,000, £3,000, £3,000. I don't know why. Is it something to do with? I really don't know, because our bank is at the moment what is called linked to QuickBooks. In the QuickBooks, it doesn't appear like that, it comes correctly. But I don't know, in COHO, the transactions are duplicated.
So what I can see on
Yeah.
your account, just quickly check in.
Yeah,
It
please.
looks like you've got the same account added loads of times. So what happens is we
Yeah.
get the data back from the provider.
Yeah.
Every time you add the account, it counts as a new one for us. Now, if you go to your account, because this issue does come up for a few people.
Yeah.
If you go to the transactions panel and click on the
Yes.
cog, you'll see all of the separate connections. Now, each individual box is a connection. And I can see in your one that there are 1, 2, 4 of them, of which there appears to be some duplicated accounts in there. So the bottom 2 are straight duplicated. And I think the reason there is when it disconnects,
Yeah.
you need to reconnect it through the reconnect button. But if you go and connect a new account, the open banking provider just considers it a whole new account. And as such, it will be added, and then they'll send us the transactions as if they're a new account. We do have a project that we want to work on behind the scenes that will basically identify that we notice them as a duplicate account, so we can flag to you this duplicate. But our ability to see and control these things are somewhat limited, so we kind of because it's with a third party. I would rather the third party don't allow duplicate connections, but maybe they've got their reasons for allowing that to happen. Possibly that we pay by the connection, so it's probably good for them. But no, that's me just probably being a bit negative. Yeah, so basically, I just look down there and remove any of them that are duplicated, and then just be vigilant with reconnecting the ones you've got as opposed to re-adding.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Yeah.
No worries.
Okay, that's at the moment. Yeah.
Great. Anyone else? Feel free to ask.
Hi.
Hiya.
Claire. I spoke to you, I think, via email last night.
Oh, yes.
You remember about adding an additional tenant on to a tenancy when we're going through the onboarding?
That's correct.
And they weren't receiving any details. Only one person does, the first person that I add onto onboarding. And you said this is something that you're looking into. When do you think this is going to be able to be resolved on COHO?
That is definitely one for Vann. Yeah. Multiple sign-in, taking a couple or a series of usually
is this multiple signing, or is this 2 people just being able to go through the onboarding?
Yeah, 2 people on one lease, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the moment, with regards to signing, our signing system works for a single person. So where there is a couple, you just have to go to what you were using before and import it.
That's what we're doing, yeah.
Yeah, it is in active development, though I think I think the first focus is on students, which is you'd have 2 onboardings and then they basically link together for the signing.
Yeah.
And then I think the next focus is on a couple both signing the same contract. But yeah, it's just one of those that kind of probably about 98% of the tenancies that go through are one person signing. So we've kind of focused the system around it. But yeah, although it's 98, we get so many now that the number that fall outside of that warrants the work to do it.
Yeah, that's fine as long as I know, because obviously I was doing it yesterday, and of course the second person was saying I haven't received anything, and I thought, oh my God, I've done something wrong. But then I emailed Claire and she responded. So
no, it's kind of around the couples. It's based around the lead tenant signing.
Right.
If you're doing that, and the second one, you can either use the print and sign and scan version of it, which is the wet signature one,
Yeah.
or if you want the digital signature, it just has to go out temporarily. But yeah, we'd
Right.
like to bring it in, and yeah, we're actively developing it.
Lovely.
I had to give a
Okay.
percentage of what the development's at. From what I've been told, it's around 80, but I usually like to kind of take a few off that, because often people can
Okay.
overestimate the first part. So yeah,
All right. Thanks a lot.
cool, no worries.
Any other questions?
Yeah, there's a hand up.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Hiya, my name is Dayo. Just on what Yvonne said regarding 2 tenants, what is the issue there? Because I don't think I have any issues on mine. It's just that mine has not accepted COHO. One of them, the lead one has, but the other one hasn't. But he has seen it, but just hasn't accepted. And 2 of them are actually showing on COHO.
Yeah. This is specifically around using the COHO e-signing.
E-signing, okay.
Yeah, with the e-signing, we send it to the lead tenant currently.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, they either have to sign on behalf of both of them,
Yeah.
or they have to, or you have to go outside of, for a different e-signing, you'd have to just go to, one of the other e-signing tools and then add it as already signed. Or alternatively, you can use the wet signing. So you upload the contract, and then the lead tenant will download it, sign it, upload it, and the lead tenant will sign it, and the person would sign it with them when that's been downloaded, and then upload it, and then you accept it.
Okay. My question really was regarding rent receipts. The rent receipts, do you have to have an account to do that? Because you do. Do you have to have a bank account really attached to the COHO account to do that?
Sorry, no.
That's what I meant.
But rent receipts as a tenant, you don't have to have a bank account attached.
Okay.
But if you want to,
as a landlord giving the tenant that, okay, this is proof that you've paid your rent.
Yeah. So what some people do is they create a rent statement, which you can do by going to the rent collection panel, and then you can put generate rent statement, and you can select that specific tenant, and you can create that statement and then save it as a PDF and send it to them. Or alternatively, if the tenant has a COHO account, they get constant visibility of their rent schedule, which will show payments.
Okay. And the other question, again, I wanted to ask regarding listing, because obviously once the property has been put on COHO, is it automatically listed? And if it is, because it seems like it is, if it is, because I'm just wondering if there's something we need to do on our end to get people to ask questions regarding the property or arrange viewings and whatnot.
Yeah, so the listing side is something I'm very passionate about and has been central to our plans. We have been quietly rolling it out over time. And over the past 6 months, it's grown quite a lot from the tenant side. We're seeing quite a lot of people find COHO and request. That all seems to be word of mouth for tenants, because we don't show up on Google still. We've not really put a huge amount of work on that discoverability, yet we're finding a lot of people now finding it, which is awesome, because when we do put that work in, which we are at the moment quietly, we will hopefully start to be a really great place for listing. In terms of tenants finding it and contacting, there's a tenant find panel, which you can look at on any property, and allow you to set whether it's visible and whether it shows the details of the tenants in the house. Now, the details of the tenants in the house, I need to make very clear, that is details that the tenants have given themselves. And we've said, like, are you happy for this to be associated with the profile? And we say to them, the benefit of doing this is that you're more likely to find someone like-minded to move into the property. And that resonates with a lot of people, so they tend to do it. You can turn that off manually by going into the property settings and turning that bit off. So in terms of people finding it and contacting you, we don't really push COHO as saying we're going to find you tenants. But we're increasingly hearing that a good tenant's being found. Our view of this is that we're going to try and do this more and more over time, but we're really focusing on quality over quantity. I think a few people have tried Facebook Marketplace and they've been swamped with 50 replies, all of which are complete trash. And our view with things is we would rather try and get people a few that are like really high quality. So I'd say just hang tight, consider it a sort of free alternative to the routes that you're going at the moment, and hopefully over time you'll find more and more people coming in. But yeah, there's nothing you specifically have to do. You can turn off all of the listings if you want to, though. From what I've been hearing from people, the viewings they get requests from COHO are usually pretty solid, high quality ones. And I mean, the reason that's the case is because at COHO we really like put a lot of weight and value around the lifestyle in the house, and the kind of tenant that resonates with are the kind that probably are more ambitious and keen to find a good place that they value and value the people in the house, and as such maybe slightly better at looking after it and having more social responsibility to the house. So yeah, I would hang tight on it and just keep an eye on the viewings panel for when they come in.
Okay, that's fine.
Also, on that tenant find and viewings panel, if it's not something you already use, I consider using that. So because there's multiple places that you can find tenants at the moment, and a lot of people get them direct, but you can go into the viewings panel and invite people to viewings and start to track that whole process through the viewings panel. And when you're happy with someone, it can move through to the onboarding. That can mean that you get the tenant gets, or the applicant at that point gets, a consistent journey experience through the system without you necessarily having to share phone numbers and WhatsApps. They can just get communicating in that standard way. So I would encourage more usage on the viewings panel.
Yeah, I normally use viewings, even though I normally advertise by spare room. But when I'm arranging viewings, I use the COHO invite to viewings and set it up there and tell them that I've sent you a viewing via COHO. Just accept and register.
Right. Yeah.
So I do that all the time. But I realized spare room also has viewings on there, which I mean is quite easy. Just to, as you're chatting with them, you can just click on arrange viewing, and that's easier.
Yeah. But, yeah. I mean, I've never heard of this spare room thing that you're talking about, but
it is. Yeah. I just realized that they have it literally on where you're chatting. Underneath is like, do you want to arrange a viewing? And you just click on your arrange time, and that's it, done, over and done. So I'm like, that seems easier. Instead of me having to go back to COHO and start all over again. If it's by spare room, I'm getting tenants from.
Yeah, I think one of the advantages with using the viewing side on our bit is that you can send that pre-qualification questionnaire. You can ask them about CCJs and the employment side of things before you send someone out to meet them. And then the other thing is, once there's someone that you want to take on, those questions are already pre-filled when it goes to onboarding. So like there's no duplication there.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you so much.
Thanks. You. Tom. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
Good. Yeah, so my question is really around renters' rights bill. So obviously it's like top of everybody's mind at the moment. I've been kind of preparing our compliance as best as I can. Obviously, we don't know what the bill's going to look like, final form, but we can be pretty sure it's going to go through. Have you guys been thinking about the Renters' Rights Bill with regards to COHO? I'm not sure how much it will affect you, but maybe more so on kind of educating us as users when that does come into place sometime in the summer, if that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the central things that we're looking at. We consider it quite an opportunity for anyone who isn't tired and kind of already at the end of their tether. In terms of, so my view of things, and sorry if any of this comes across as extremely dumb or anything, and please just take it as my opinion, but the effect of it will be, it will professionalize the industry a lot more, probably with a little bit of a sledgehammer. And I think the people, so I've been in conversations with really good, really successful landlords with a lot of properties, and there's so much fear from the maybe the older landlords because there's so much change. They are, some of those are definitely looking at selling because they kind of don't know what to do. Whereas when I see some of the younger, and when I say younger, I'm not necessarily even meaning age, I guess I'm meaning kind of their approach to the industry. They maybe haven't been in it 30, 40 years. They're seeing it as a good time to buy these properties. And, you know, it's going to lead to less competition and good deals. From an agent's perspective, I think it's very, it makes agents even more necessary because a lot of landlords were just kind of coping barely kind of with the hope that nothing ever gets raised and tenants don't really know what they're doing. And I think that the tenants will get a lot more awareness of what their rights are. And as such, these landlords, they're either the ones that are selling or they're going to realize the value of getting a good agent or professionalizing themselves. But either way, it's all about professionalizing. Now,
I agree.
Yeah. So I think the kind of people who come to these sorts of webinars that go to things like the HMO Summit and actually like actively look at the industry they're in, I think that although it's going to be a hard year, I think it's going to be one of those years that they're the ones that kind of come out on top because everyone's facing the same difficulties. In terms of what COHO's doing, there's quite a lot that we're doing around this. We're trying to double down on the compliance side of things, so to make it so you kind of really feel that it's really clear what you need to do. We're trying to help a lot on the finance side. We're doing a lot of development around the improving the finances. That way you can kind of ensure that things are profitable. We're also, I mean, this will be shared, but I'm not one to hold my tongue and things, so don't hold me to anything. Don't want to create too much of a noose. But we're in the process of putting together a Renters' Rights Bill ready tenancy agreement, one ourselves that will. So I've had this vision for like 5+ years of putting together a really solid tenancy agreement that's really good for shared houses and non-shared houses, that's customizable basically. So you can kind of like put the sort of parameters in that will create it. So I think like those sorts of things will allow you to know that you're kind of on top of things like the agreements and stuff, but also with the view of tenants starting to understand their rights a bit more. We'll be sitting in the middle to try to improve the relationship between landlords and tenants. Like we're really keen on that relationship improvement side of things, not just extending the hostilities. And I actually think this coming year, as things professionalize, I think those that come out stronger in it will actually look back at it and go, tenants don't hate us as much because now it's more of a business relationship than it is a landlord-tenant relationship, and we kind of want to be there to help that happen as well.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of developments, we've been doing things over the past 6 months to get ready for it as well. So things like periodic tenancies from the start was introduced a few months ago.
Right.
There are some things that we've kind of probably put a bit of a pause on relating to term rent, as that's kind of looking like it's probably gone. So yeah, we're very much, I mean, as you all know, we're very, very actively developing COHO. So this isn't a case of we built a system, now we're kind of trying to budget whether it's worth doing these upgrades. We're very actively building it, and renters' rights is at the front of everyone's mind, and as such, it's at the front of ours.
Great. Thanks very much, Vann. Yeah, I mean, just I won't go on too long, but I think you're absolutely right. It is all about professionalization. I think you can get ahead of it. There are risks. We're in the student sector, so it's inevitable we will have like mid-tenancy voids. Our big decision, we're kind of already on with signing tenancies for a lot of the houses for next year. They've already completed. But whether or not we switch to like individual tenancies for rooms, or we keep them for the shared houses, and then understanding that tenants are going to leave probably straight away, some of them, and then but you know, on the flip side, there'll be just as many people leaving another house, going to another house. So I think so long as you're on top of everything, it should be fine. Yeah, but thanks very much, Vann. I appreciate it.
No worries. And Tom, would you mind just dropping me your number, because I'd like to call you after about something related to this. I've got back-to-back calls, but it will be today. If you're okay.
Yeah, no problem. I'll let you know when I'm free.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Anybody else with any questions? We've got no hands up.
Hi there, I've got a question. Hi, Claire.
Hi, Eliza. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good.
So it was just off the back. So we don't use the tenant find tab. We just, I guess we get the tenants from sort of open rent, spare room, and just send them, the invitation to come and view, which most of the time it's great, they turn up. But the one thing, I guess, as things get busier, is informing the current tenant that there is a viewing. So just off the back of now knowing that there's that tenant tab, is there any sort of function that you send the prospective tenant the viewing request, and then it also informs the tenant in that room that there is a viewing, or is that not something that's available?
I'll let Claire answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, it does. Yeah. You can actually, if you're looking at the tenant find panel on your main portfolio page, I stress that because the settings cog at property level is actually slightly different. If you look at the settings cog on the tenant find page on your main portfolio page, and open up those settings, there is actually a checkbox there to automatically notify the existing tenants in the property 24 hours before via email that somebody is coming over to the property to do a viewing. I believe if the viewing is set up with less than 24 hours, they're notified immediately. So yeah, not only if you take, if you start using that panel, not only can you obviously send everything out, all those details of the prospective tenant are in there, but then you've got that functionality to keep everybody else in the loop as well.
That's amazing. Thank you. I'll look into that. And then just my second one. So I've it's called Salt Edge, isn't it? The third party to track tenant payments. I've been in pending mode for about 3 weeks because I've managed to sort of set it up properly. But I just wondered if there's anyone else here that's been using that, and whether it's pretty simple. And am I correct in thinking it's £1? We pay £1 to COHO every single transfer that comes through, like every rent payment that comes through. Is that correct?
No. So I'm just trying to have a look at what you're impending. There's no cost currently to any of the Salt Edge stuff. I think we intended to some time ago, but we've just been so focused on improving the system that it's just included in what you're doing. Like, there is a caveat there that, like, it may be that we create different packages in future, but definitely as it stands and as it has been for about 18 plus months, there's no additional cost to using any of those open banking features. They do have a direct cost to us, but it's not something that we are particularly looking at the moment as an issue. So in terms of the pending, they shouldn't be pending. If I can see your account right, I can't see one that's connected, so it might be worth you getting in touch with one of the team afterwards. But yeah, it's right, I can see, because we've got the introducing that we estimate in future that may be the case, but as of right now we don't have a plan to change it in the short term. Yeah, so it's worth just using it definitely while it's there and available and free. And I think a lot of people will realize we're quite friendly with our pricing as of the start of the business. We've yet to ever increase anyone's costs. I can't say that's not something we'll ever do because, you know, the cost of inflation goes up, but we've never done it. So we do try to look at our users from the perspective of like, we're not just trying to grab every penny we can. So hopefully that gets sort of recognized with these things. But in terms of the open banking, yeah, there's loads of people using it. We've really improved the automatic rent matching side of things. So yeah, I
Amazing.
definitely encourage you to use it.
Lovely. Thank you, Van. And everything else is great. It's perfect. Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, Fiona.
I think, I don't know if Thomas got his hand up again or.
I think he's got it again.
Oh,
maybe
it's gone
not.
now.
Oh, maybe he has.
Hi, Fiona.
I've lowered it. Sorry. Yeah.
That's all right.
Fiona.
Oh, hi there.
Hiya.
Sorry, I'm just struggling to manage this. So I just wondered if there was any provision for insured TDS for the deposit for the insurance side of things rather than custodial.
It's not really something we're massively looking at the moment. Mainly because the insured one, from our experience, it's generally used more by huge letting agents that are sitting on lots and lots of money and have kind of special ways to make money using that money. When we looked at the market with our existing audience and landlords, generally they just seem to prefer custodial because they can just pass the money away and forget about it. I do recognize there's some advantages, like you can make a bit of money on the interest on it, and I guess there is a slight psychological thing with the tenant with it being with the landlord and not with the custodial, but in reality it doesn't change things massively. I also, my understanding is that I think the schemes are more pushing the custodial thing more and more. So I guess our view was we want to integrate what most of our users use and then probably just look at what the industry does over the next year and focus on some of the things that have maybe more impact than bringing in the insured. But that's not to say we haven't ruled out the insured. It's just it's an additional project to do it, and we think that the uptake of it is still probably a little bit low for us to push it to the top of the list.
Sure. Okay. Thanks very much. Thanks for answering that.
No worries. I'll just embrace the awkward silence.
Oh, I was muted then. I just asked if anybody else had got any questions. Completely muted. No.
Oh, well, I guess
I find that really hard to believe.
Oh, wait,
shared
shared
homes of just whoever that is. Hiya.
Hello. How are you? All right?
Good, thank you. Yeah.
Mine is just a small question, more about new tenants coming onto COHO. So I've had a couple recently where we've invited them to COHO and sent them the link. They've gone onto the link to sign in, and they've already got an account from like a previous property, but they can't log on to like the new property. Do they have to do something different? Do they have to sort of cancel the account and then make a new one?
No. So when they send the link, there'll be a bit that says if you already have an account, log in as opposed to register. We probably don't make the text as prominent as it could be, but it will have like email, password, or if you already have an account, click here to
Oh, okay.
And when they do that, it should connect to the new one. There is the occasional thing that I don't know. I think we did put a solution in there, but sometimes the old manager hasn't moved them out, which creates this thing in COHO where they kind of like have two active tenancies, even though in reality they don't. I think that's something we may have addressed now already. I thought that was what you were going to be asking.
Oh, was
Yeah,
it?
it's really interesting because like on our growth path, like everyone we were bringing in was kind of here for the first time, but we've
Yeah.
had like someone chain 3 different agencies in 3 different parts of the country back to back now.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we're starting to see more and more people. And one of the things that's been really nice there is we've had a few people approach us now saying that the tenant has suggested COHO to them, which is
Oh, really?
amazing. So that's kind of helping that.
Oh, that's good.
So yeah, no, there shouldn't be an issue.
There should be. So there should be an option just to tick already an existing account. Yeah.
Yeah. I think there's specifically a guide in our troubleshooting that you can pass to tenants.
Oh, okay.
I think that might mention the bit that says if you have an account, but Claire's going to have a look.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could send anything over, which I could maybe forward to them to help them get onto it then.
But yeah, it's kind of it's built into what we've done because we always hoped that that would happen, and I guess now we're at that point.
I've just dropped the link in, so it's my tenant's account does not show their tenancy.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. I'll have a look. Excellent. Yeah, that was the only one from me today. I'm here just to listen as well, just to see what everyone else has got to ask.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
No worries.
I don't know whether Fiona's got a question or maybe a hand just still up, but if anybody else wants to, yeah, unmute, ask away. No.
Oh, has that been useful to people? Underwhelming? Good? Give a show of thumbs up or thumbs down if you think that was kind of good or not. Cool. Comments coming in. Look good. Because yeah, there's sort of things that we can try and do more of in future. I do quite like speaking to people. And we've announced somewhat quietly, I think, the HMO summit coming up in July. I would massively advise looking at going to that. There'll be another sort of 12 plus talks. Obviously, there'll be a lot around the renters' rights bill. We've got Suzanne Smith, who's really leading the charge in helping people understand it. She'll be doing a talk. Yeah, one of the things that we really want to focus on during this time is not just how you survive the year, but how you come out of the year as one of the people that's that's winning. So I would really advise going because the talking slots will really help you, but also just being surrounded by people who are also in a similar position and the connections that you'll make from that, I think, can really benefit from both a business perspective, but also just a mental sanity perspective. So yeah, I hope to see some of you there. And also you get to see me just fluttering around in a dazed confusion, trying to say hi to people.
I have just linked everybody to the actual support page that I've created, which has got a link to the training manual and a link to the troubleshooting guide. There is still quite a few of our customers that don't realise I'm ever so croaky today and I've been getting over this chest infection. So yeah, the troubleshooting guide and the user manual can be really, really useful resource actually for deep diving into the panels and seeing, you know, and reading what that panel is all about. So definitely keep it bookmarked, yeah, if you do need to refer back to anything.
Sweet. Great.
I think our work here is done.
Thanks,
There's
everyone.
going to be more webinars coming up in the future. There is quite a few of you that have already booked onto the onboarding webinar, which is in a fortnight's time, and then in 4 weeks' time it will be the maintenance. I've got loads more planned, just the emails haven't gone out yet. So there will be one around rent collection, finances, tenant fines, the message centre, lots of other bits and pieces as well. So do keep an eye out those emails and book your slot.
Fantastic. Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
You're welcome. Lovely to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you. See you later.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.